So I think we finally finished our chest freezer project, at least mostly. I'm in Houston and I have an outdoor patio, so what we decided to protect it was to go with one of these utility sheds. So went ahead, bought the shed, put it together, and if you'll notice over here, what we did to run the electric was we basically put conduit, cut a hole in the shed, ran conduit over here, and then up over the area. This was a little tight. Our conduit didn't fit, so I just used a P-trap, ran the cords. We've got a GFCI, and then I had bought a couple timers, and we ended up using the second timer here to kind of help protect those sheds just because we're so close to the water source. Sauna for the fire and ice piece. But if we lift this up, we went ahead and installed some LED lights that actually fit perfectly in the metal strip. And then we've got 2 ozone generators and the Inkbird timer, which helps us regulate the temperature of the freezer. So it'll turn it on as the water gets warmer, and then as soon as it hits a certain temperature, it'll turn the freezer back off. We got our second layer of protection with the surge protector over here. And then just the handy dandy timer for how long we're in the water. And we open this up and we've got another temperature gauge. We have our 2 Marineland pumps in the bottom. So we got them facing either way. One's on the step, one's on the bottom to help circulate the water a little bit better. And then we got an ozone over here on the left. On top of the step, another ozone over here. And we've had a lot of luck keeping everything at a pH of 7. So we got the test strips, everything's going great, and it's been wonderful. For the actual inside of the tub, we use JB Weld on all the seams like John had recommended. And then we used an epoxy that's used for basically water tank, industrial water tanks, and it's called AquataPoxy. And that ran about $250, but it was like icing a cake. So the gentleman that I work with, they do corrosion for industrial equipment and industrial structures, and he said not to use a roller, so we used basically putty knives as spatulas and put it on. But it's working really well. And when I bought the freezer, it was used and had a little bit of rust, and also it had a smell when we opened it up. And since doing all the ozone and everything, like, the smell is completely gone. It smells great. It's working great. We've had water in here for about 2 months now, and we've been doing fire and ice once a week and the occasional dip in the ice plunge, and it's perfect. So my background for doing the chest freezer plunge is that I've got an autoimmune disease, the blood clotting disorder, and I also do a lot of training. At one point I was training to pass the Air Force Special Warfare test, and I had a very bad shoulder injury during that, and I was trying to find a way to help recover quicker. And I had started doing fire and ice at a local gym called Mechanics, and then the pandemic hit and was no longer able to do that. So started to set up here at home, and we do 3 minutes in the ice and then about 15 minutes in the sauna at about 210 degrees. 3 rounds of that, finish in the ice. In between, we're using the hose and just rinsing off to keep the water cleaner, and it's been wonderful. And I wanted to say thanks to John Richter for starting the group, helping us navigate the ins and outs. Like, we had so many answers to our question. We'll link everything in the post, and hopefully we'll be able to help somebody else with their setup. And many thanks again to John.